when girls talk, just about anything can happen. So I have on our show today, I have Miss Renee Jackson. So I'm going to stop talking right there because I'm going to allow her to introduce herself. So Renee, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure, of course. Thanks, Michelle. My name is Renee Jackson, and I am a mom. I am a caregiver, and I am an action coach. And I help people to basically identify where they need to get started, and I help them execute, walk them through that process. And I do it because it was done for me in some of my most difficult times. My sister friends came alongside. They helped me to keep moving through a divorce, through everything that life could kind of throw you. And I'm out here doing it for others the way it was done for me. So that's pretty much who I am in a nutshell. You know, there's so much more.
Of course, there's always so much more. There's always so much more. So let's jump into it. What is an action coach?
Okay, that is a great place to start. An action coach is someone who motivates others. And I am, at the heart of who I am, is an encourager. And so I will encourage you, and encouragement comes, as parents will say, I'm encouraging you when I say, you did a great job, and I'm encouraging you when you get a consequence. So I definitely encourage through those who have decided to work with me to, get things in order, get organized, be accountable. If you say you're going to do something. And a lot of times we just want someone to tell what our goal is, what our purpose is, what we're trying to do, without judgment. That's what I do. No judgment. There is accountability. If you tell me you are going to do something, then I am going to work with you. I'm going to call you. I'm going to follow up with you. I will stay on the phone with you if you need to make that difficult phone call. Whatever the need is, I will work with that person who is ready to execute and get to that point of completion. And for me, that is the joy, right? It took me a long time. I moved to a different state. I had to get my license changed. And if you have any kind of court proceedings and paperwork going to one place, it's kind of like, oh my God, I don't want to change anything because you have to depend on the government and different things. But I finally went through the process, and I can still remember how I felt when I walked out of the DMV or the, driver's department and sat in my car, and it was like, I'm complete. Like, that was a big deal. I needed to do everything I needed to do, put all my new addresses on everything, and I was complete. And it might seem small to someone else, but to me, it was huge. And I think no matter what it is that you need to execute, that feeling of completion and the ability to start moving forward, it gets you in the motion to go for other things. We have so many things that we need to do. So that is one of the things that I do as an action coach. I don't want to overtalk you, Michelle, but because I could go on.
Oh, you're not over talking at all, and you're not talking too much either, because I've heard of life coaching and business coaching and motivational coaching, and even heard of the spiritual coaches and the health coaches, but I hadn't heard of an action coach. So you're educating me today on exactly what that is. So how did you get started as an action coach?
Okay, so how I got started. Actually, it is something that I have done pretty much most of my life. I really thought about this, and I can go back to when I was a child. And you know how the kids, you play with the dolls, everybody has their different thing that they play with. Well, I played with organizing things. So I got the desk, I put the books on it, and I organized my siblings because there was 4 of us. And I kind of like, okay, you need to do that, you need to do this. And that's kind of where it started. And as I go on in my life, I have worked with my friends without them signing up with me. And they would say, Renee, I have this idea and I want to do I want to be a chef. I have a friend, she wants to be a chef. She is an amazing cook. Okay. So she tells me her idea. Remember, I'm not an action coach. I am her girlfriend. And that is just how I have worked with a lot of my friends over the years. And I'm only repeating that because that's what they tell me. Once I finally knew that it was an action coach, I called it an action coach. I had my opening. They came on the line because we were in on the Zoom when I did my launch, and they were just like, that's what she's always done. She's always kind of pushed us on to do what we needed to do. For me, it's encouragement. If you say you want to do something, I'm saying you can do it. Because our favorite scripture around here is Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So I'm not preaching to you, but I'm like, if you got that idea, you can do it. So that's kind of where I started, just naturally. It's just, and then I had to learn how to, manage it because people did not sign up with me. I was just action coaching them. And then I joined into a parenting group, and my coach, he's a parenting coach of couples and children's parenting, a coach, and he also has a business section. And I was talking to him about what I do all the time, almost every day. I'm like, well, yeah, I have these conversations with friends and family and people that I know and people that I barely know, and I have these conversations, and I'm just like, what are you trying to do? And he said, okay, you need to come into the business side. So he encouraged me to kind of move into a place where I could kind of look at it and say, now, what are you doing? And it took me about 2 years. I sat in there and I said, is this a business or is this ministry? I just encourage people. And but after working through it, I also encourage people to go through the grieving process on an online group. I do. We've been doing that since 2016. And for 21 days in December, I would just get on there and just encourage people for 21 days straight through the month of December and just say, you can make it. You can do it. That is a very difficult time for individuals. It's family is just height to all the Christmas, and it's nothing wrong with it. Yes, Jesus is a reason, but it is a challenging time for multiple reasons for people. And so this is no different. One day I was working on something and I was talking to a girlfriend, and when I walked away from the conversation, I heard her say, you're an action coach. But she never said that. I heard that. I know that God has said that to me. This is what all this that you're doing, and you're organizing and you're working with people, is an action coach. And from there, I got the name of my business, and I've been working with individuals on a professional level now, but still doing the same thing, just encouraging people to continue to move through the process. That's what it is grief. I'm not saying hurry up and get through that, one of those phases, because they say there's 5 phases of grief. Hurry up and get through denial so you can get to the next. I'm not saying that, but I am saying there's a process. If you stick with it, if you acknowledge that you are in this section of the process, and you do everything that you need to do in that process, but keep moving. Just encouraging you to keep moving, because we know that you can go through that process multiple, and then again, and then again, and again. But it's a process, and we just need to keep moving. And so that is pretty much how I got started working professionally as an action coach. But I'm still doing the same thing. I'm encouraging people to keep moving through the process. Figure out what is the priority thing that you are supposed to do. right? Dig in there, because we all have to-do lists. And I talk about the multiple different types of to-do lists that we have. We have, I got to do this. I got to feed my kids. I mean, hey, the government might come for me. And then there's the to-do list that is like, you know, we need to clean that bathroom. We need to take showers. We need to have self-care. And then there's those God assignments. If I can't leave this earth before I do this, to-do list. So I break it down to 3. Of course, it can be more. But in that third list of, if I this is what I was born for. I was assigned to come here to do this. Whether it is to be a great mom, a great spouse, to be a caregiver for your parents or whomever, whatever that to-do list is, whether it's to be a top singer in the world, to minister to people all over, whatever that is, you balance that out with the other. Gotta do this. Gotta feed those kids. You know, self-care is necessary in order for me to put the mask on myself so I can help the others. And then there's this thing over here that is like an assignment. Like, I literally wasn't born for this. And when we see those different lists, I say, okay, then we sit down and we say, okay, which one of these do you need to focus on this week or maybe today? And that's how we start executing and moving forwards and getting some traction. And then eventually being able to, you know, come to completion. Like for me, it was the driver's license. That might sound simple, but for someone else, it might be the certification, like you said, for being a life coach, or, you know, for being a swimming coach, whatever you might need to do. The process to get there for me is pretty much the same. You just need an action coach that's going to help walk you through, discern all that, just, you know, disseminate, spread all those things out, and then start saying, okay, I need to do this. Because I'm going to say this, Michelle, I do feel like I'm talking a lot now, but I'm going to say we all have to-do lists. We all have, like, oh, I gotta get the sheet. I gotta go wash the clothes. I gotta go clean this. I gotta get my car to the cleaners. I gotta clean, you know, I gotta do this. What are some things that we have to do? You know, I need to go hang out with my girlfriends. I have an appointment here to get my nails done. There's so many things that we have done, and that's fine. That's fine. But as an action coach, we're gonna sift through that. And we're going to say, let's put to the top these things. Let's create these different piles. And then let's start saying every single day. That's where accountability comes in. Let's see what do you really need to do this week. And what else? What else do you have to do? And then you start moving strategically. And a lot of times you realize, wow, why was I doing all that other stuff? I'm not taking action. I'm not really as together and doing it all like I thought I was. Because at the end of the day, I have not even touched my paintboard because I'm a creative. I haven't even touched my writings. I haven't written a poem, and that's what you were created to do? No. We got to add that in. You got to touch that, right? So,
right.
Hopefully that helps. I mean,
yeah, that helps. That helps a lot for giving me an understanding of how you got started in what it is that you do. We've seen you as a action coach. We know what it is that you now do. So talk to us about who you are. Who is Renee Jackson, the other person, and not the action coach?
Oh, that's a great question. I love that. Well, my name is actually Renee, and my middle initial is A, Renee A. Jackson, and A stands for action. I'll be truthful. I am a product of the product. So I am personally an action taker. I am, as I said, I'm a mom. I'm a boy mom, 3 boys, one bonus son. He's 30, a 16-year-old, and 11-year-old. and I have a bonus nephew who's 18 years old. So all boys. So I'm definitely in the boy field. And I am a believer in Jesus Christ. I am a Christian mama, and that is how I even raise my boys and live by that. My faith, that is how we are making it through life. I am a caregiver. And let me say for my boys, let me just say as a mom, I have, we have as a family dealt with mental health. And I'll say that because I talk about it a lot now, because families deal with it. If you have a child who has dealt with mental health or is dealing with mental health, it's not just that child, it's the entire family that deals with it. And so we should deal with it as a family. When we talk about it, we need to talk about it as a family, because that is not going on in your home in one child, and the whole house is not affected by it. We're all affected. And so I talk about it. We have dealt with mental health, with special needs, and now we are talking about it as a family. And I will say one of my sons has specifically dealt with it, and with his permission, I go on Clubhouse, and we have a club for parents, and my goal one day is to have a conversation with teenagers and with parents, because I think that there is like a divide there, that the parents and the kids need to come together and say, we're here for you, and we need you to be here for us. Like, there needs to be some repenting and parents saying, you know what? I'm sure I've caused some of this by my own decisions. Maybe not the actual result of how your child responds to it, maybe anxiety or depression, but as parents, we have not made all the best choices. I'll start with myself, and that is okay. I'm gonna ask for forgiveness and say, hey, I'm learning. And that's how we move forward. And also for young people to teach, as you're going through mental health, I'm learning, you're learning, we're learning together. This needs to be a team effort. And so that's something that I talk about a lot, because it doesn't go away. It's a journey. It's not a destination. And so we're getting in spaces with lots of parents. We're getting a lot of special educators coming in, a lot of psychiatrists, psychologists, people who deal with children who have special needs and have mental health challenges. And it is amazing. I am just thankful to God, because initially when I started talking about it, it was out of a response because my child had been bullied online. And through that bullying, he was told to take his life. And he contemplated that. And so that put us not just in there's some anxiety, but it put us in a whole different arena. And so a door opened up. I was able to talk about it publicly with my son's approval, because he's 16, he's older. And I will say I backed away from it because it's such a private and it's so real. It's not something that you play with or you take lightly. So I did discuss it in like an awareness kind of conversation. We did it to bring awareness to like the sites that, have been noted. And just the idea if you could be living in the house with someone and not know. And so just being aware. We talked about it, and then I put it down. And then I got some really good wise counsel. And like maybe 6 months later, here we are. So maybe for the last 3 months, I think, two or 3 months, we've been on we go on Clubhouse, and we have these we have this conversation, and we're just bringing resources. We're just taking out the stigma of discussing mental health in our community, about our children, not just about ourselves as adults, because of course we're talking to parents from parent perspective. So parents have to keep themselves in check, and we need to take ourselves to, get therapy and get help professionally and whatever it is that you need. But our focus is for our kids. And so it's been a pleasure in this way. I will say a pleasure in this way. The first time I needed to talk to someone had approached me and told me about a struggle that my son was having, and they were concerned about decisions that he was making. This was about 4 or 5 years ago. And in that moment, I had to either recoil, be embarrassed, and say, no, not my child, or I needed to lean in and say, okay, what's going on? And my child was waiting in the background to see my response. And I had to make a decision in that moment. And my decision was, I am not embarrassed about anything. I'm like, what is going on? Please share it with me. I pulled my son in close and I was like, okay, is it okay with you? He just shared with me. Would you give him permission to share? And I said, we need to talk about this. And we were in a space that I could call another professional in, like right there on the spot. And we wound up having an open dialogue with my son, with the person that reported my son, and then another professional. And we sat there in kind of like a huddle and a safe space. And he was able to share where he was. And I will say from that was such a powerful, he was able to share that. It was safe. We were able to move forward and get some professional help. Even in that moment, we kind of huddled, and the professional, we prayed together. I want that for parents. We should be able to say out loud, oh my gosh, my child is so sad, my child is depressed, and not just, like beyond. Or my child is being bullied and they are affected by it. And we should have a place that we can say it out loud. We could say it in a place where people are not recoiling, but it's a sacred space. And once that is said, we know that we have to get professional help. We have to get help for our child. We need to be in the moment, but there's no stigma. You're not walking away saying, oh my God, her child, don't have to invite them over anymore to play. None of that is happening. And I think, I say it lightly, but I'll say it seriously. People will feel that way. People will say, oh my gosh, we might not need to, invite little Johnny to the parties anymore, because I heard, and those kind of things will make parents not share, which means we don't get all the resources that we need. We don't get all the information that we need. So anyway, I say all that to say, let's open that dialogue. And so this room has been amazing because we have parents who are dealing with kids with special needs. We have adults that are coming in the room who don't have children, but they themselves have had attempted suicide when they were teenagers. So they are adults now working in professional roles to help and support. We have all different kind of individuals that are coming in, and it's helping us as parents to just be more equipped, because we are the front line. Okay, so that's as a mom. I maybe I went on a little bit long, but that's where I'm at as a mom. And I have kids. I told you about my boys. I'm a caregiver for both my mom and my dad. And my mom had a stroke in 2017, but she's really, what we have learned with her is that food is amazing. It's really removing salt and removing sugar has taken her diagnosis from she'll be a vegetable and in a facility for the rest of her life. So she is home. She is functioning. She is conversating. She knows all of us, all of those things. So for that, I am thankful. And yeah, I know that was a lot.
So I want to go back to something that you said, though, because I think that it is very, very important that we take a moment and that we really discuss it. I I don't know any family that has not been impacted in some way, shape, or form by mental health.
Yeah.
My family has been. I've got a niece who passed away this past March, and she had been diagnosed as bipolar and depressed.
Oh, okay.
And so, and I've said this to my family, and I'm pretty transparent in who I am. When we got the word that they had found her dead in her apartment, my mind went to, with everything that she had going on, did she commit suicide?
Right.
So that was the first concern that I had.
Okay.
We later found out that they said she died of natural causes. However, I believe that there's something that they're not telling us, and that they may not have done all of the necessary testing to find out what really was the cause. I'm glad that there was no information that was provided to us that she had committed suicide, because that was my concern.
Okay.
One of the things that I had learned in the midst of that, and as most people will tell you, bipolar, you have your highs, you have your lows.
Yeah.
You're either at one end of the polar, you're at the other end of the polar.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no middle ground, really. You're either up or down, especially if you're not taking care of yourself and if you're not doing everything that you're supposed to be doing. I have a friend of mine whose son this year committed suicide.
Oh my.
And there is so much that's out there. Yeah. There was a young lady that I heard about not too long ago. Matter of fact, somebody sent me the video of her, and she committed suicide. But in all intents and purposes, she had a happy life. Everything on the outside looked like she was living her best life. However, on the inside, she hated herself. She hated everything about herself. And so I think we have to stop, and we really have to begin to deal with it. Yeah. Because what I say is I even at my age now, I don't face the things that my grandkids face. Right. I didn't face it at their age, and I don't face it now. Mm-hmm. We have, with the onset of the internet and social media and all of the other ways that people can bully.
Yes. Yes.
We're finding our children in precarious situations to where they're afraid to come and say something to us, or they believe they can handle it themselves.
Right.
You know, I remember when my youngest son was in middle school, he had a bully.
Okay.
Now, you know, just in passing, jokey, you know, I remember talking to my daughter when he had to have been about 5 or 6, and somebody was bothering her, and I said, well, you better get them together, because you know I fight kids. Well, just because I said that to her, he didn't tell me about his bully because he was afraid that I was going to go beat the kid up and get in trouble.
Oh my goodness.
So, you know, we never know what they're thinking. But I love the fact that you, in that moment, made the decision to say yes to your child and no to everything else. In that moment, that was the most important thing that was going on in your child's life. Mm-hmm. And that right there spoke volumes to him, that he has a community of people that is concerned about him. And so I know for a fact that when we choose our children, regardless of what's going on or regardless of what anybody is saying, when we choose our children, they recognize that, and it strengthens them to face whatever is coming next. True. And so we actually give them permission to continue living, because I believe in you, and now they pick that up and they believe in themselves. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for stepping into that space and being his advocate.
Are you an author overwhelmed by the marketing process? Are you having trouble getting your book into readers' hands? Are you struggling to build an author brand that helps you stand out from the crowd? Are you looking for guidance on how to build your personal writer's brand in a way that fits your book's storyline? The author's Get the BAG, Brand Action Goals program, is exactly what you're looking for. The Author Get the BAG program is a 6-week intensive branding and marketing program for new, published, and unpublished authors designed to help them cultivate their author brand and create a strategic marketing plan. The course begins November 15th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Spots are limited. Sign up today at www.michellepjones.com/authors-get-the-bag.
So and it's funny that we're even having this Clubhouse discussion, because I found out today that I got a club on Clubhouse. They approved my club.
Oh, good. What's your club?
It's called Brown Girls Reads.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And it's a book club. And so basically it'll be for authors, readers, writers, anyone that has anything to do with that arena, to be able to come in, discuss books, talk, learn information, share when new books come out so that people will know what's out there. So it'll be all things book clubbish, writing, authoring, all of that. So I got a little excited. I was like, okay, forgot all about that. I had put it out there. Forgot all about it.
Wow.
And I just happened to be on there today, check my notifications, and there it was.
Awesome. I know that's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But I'm really excited because I can see how you used your skills as an action coach to step into that space and to make sure that your son was taken care of.
Yes.
And to make sure that the resources were available for him to understand that you're not in this by yourself. I got you. You know, and I'm bringing in other resources so that you know that there are resources available to you. So as you are in this space, as you are in the Clubhouse space, and that you're doing this room and you're allowing parents to come in to get resources and to share stories and to do all that you are doing, what has been your response back from that?
I have gotten so much positive feedback back. The room has grown. I mean, we were doing it when we first started. It was a small amount of like people we knew that were. I was saying to my girlfriend, "Y'all come on, let's do this." And now we are in a space where we have like a really nice group of people that come into the room every Tuesday and Thursday. The comments that I get in like the little back channel is always like, thank you. I feel so much better, because it's definitely a place where parents can just come and like tell us like they're not having today has like been one of those days. And that's why we're there. And so I get lots of positive feedback from parents and the professionals. Like, I love my professionals because they will come in, they will give us resources, drop some books. I put a book on my Instagram page today, and I want to say be present in the moment. I can't think of but I don't want to misquote it, but it's a book for it's all kinds of resources that we're getting. So I get lots of great feedback. I know that it's something that we should do, and we're coming from a parent's perspective, and we get the professional perspective. But I think what I'm getting in the feedback is even the professionals love to hear what the parents are saying, and especially that we are open to learning more. We're not just like, well, we got this, but it's more of a community that we're putting together. So that's.
So I'm curious. Curious.
Okay.
So now I know we are in the Black community, and the Black community has not fully embraced therapy.
Right.
So of the mix that's in the room, Are you seeing that you have all the races represented? Are you seeing more of one race versus another race? Because, a lot of times we won't talk about the things that are going on for fear that we'll be judged or that people will look down on us. So how is that playing out? Do you have a good representation of all the races? And are you having people that are able to get the resources because they're not looking at it from a race perspective, but as an information perspective?
That is a great question. There is definitely a balance of the races. There is not, I'm not, yeah, there's not heavy on one end, light on the other end. There is a balance. We even have men come in. We have all the races. We've had people from India, from England, different places in the world, to come on stage and share. And still sharing the story, the thread of the story is our kids' mental health. So it's either, from India, I see something, I'm a little bit concerned about this behavior in my child. What would you say? And the professionals are able to speak to it. We're able as parents to speak to it. So yes, there is a mix. It's not anything that we did to get that mix. It's just, that is just who's showing up. The subject is, we're talking about our kids' mental health, and people show up for that. And yes, so it's been a balance and the therapy thing hasn't come up as an issue because, adults and kids need therapy. And so it seems like the focus of the conversation is always what is best for our kids. So that's a lot about what we think as adults. We have these opinions about different things. But if your kid is in school and someone is noticing that there's an issue, they're not saying, do y'all believe in therapy? They're recommending it, if that makes sense.
Definitely. I went through that myself, having to navigate situations and things that happen within the family unit, and realizing that there is absolutely nothing that you necessarily did wrong for this to happen, but you're in the position of authority to make sure that it's taken care of. And so I think that a lot of parents are getting away from the taboo of not wanting anybody to know that my child goes to therapy or that I go to therapy. Because look, I am a proponent of therapy.
Okay.
I believe
yes,
that there is something powerful in talking to a non-interested third party.
Yes.
Who has the skills and the tools to help you navigate whatever season of life you happen to be in. Because not everybody has those navigational skills to be able to guide you and to help you navigate that season you're in. I'll be the first to say I've gone to counseling. My kids have gone to counseling. I believe in it for the simple fact that if it's going to help me be better, then that means I need to step into that arena. Let the pride go, let the ego go, and get the help I need, get the direction I need. If my kid needs it, then I need to put my kid in there so that because I don't have everything my kids need. Now I have the love, I have the concern, I have the mothering instinct, I have the nurturing that I can give them. But sometimes our children need more. And it doesn't mean that I am less of a parent if I recognize that my child needs something that I can't provide. And then I go to an outside source to make sure that they are providing what it is that my child needs. Now, I will say this. Not every therapist is for every client. So we need to make sure that we find the therapist or the counselor that actually can connect with us and or our children. Because if they don't connect with the child is not going to talk to them anyway. So it's going to be a waste of the child's time and a waste of your money. Right. And so that is important, that I want to throw that out. That's as important as well, that we make sure that when we're seeking help, that we just don't pick any help that's out on the tree. Pick the one that's going to best be suited for your needs, and then check them out. You don't work for them, they work for you. Check them out.
Exactly.
Check out their, see what complaints they've had, see what recommendations they've had. You know, check with the Better Business Bureau if they have their own business to see if they have complaints against them, even with them. We have to be in the same way that we check out everything else in our lives. We need to be that diligent, because we don't want to put our kids in a position, or even ourselves in a position, to where we're being victimized because we're with the wrong therapist or we're with the wrong counselor. And we want to make sure that it's a positive experience.
Yes, that's it. I mean, you are right. We have to vet our everybody, because we are their advocate. Number one, top advocate. We're checking out everyone. We have the checklist. We're asking all the questions, no matter who you are. Everybody goes through that vetting process through the parent. You're so right. You're on point on that. I agree. 100%. And we should not feel that anyone is, more intelligent, smarter, whatever it is. Ask all the questions. I believe in saying, could you repeat that and tell me, break that down for me in an IEP meeting? I'm going to ask a lot of questions. So.
Oh, and for those of you that don't know what an IEP is, that is an individual educational plan, IEP.
Yes.
I had one for my son. That's why I know about it.
That's right. You gotta have, if you need them to have any kind of special, they need to have an IEP, and that in itself is a whole interesting experience. I will say that
it is. But you know what I found, and you can speak to this yourself. What I have found with having my son on an IEP, he had a better opportunity to succeed in school than if they just would have lumped him in with everybody else.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I'm definitely here for the IEP. I know people make fun of the short bus, but I'm here for the short bus if your child needs it. I mean, my son had to carry this big computerized $5,000. I think I had to sign for it. For his communication when he was little. He didn't use his voice. He used sign and peck symbols, and he had a computer, and he needed to get on that bus with that extra person on it without 50 other kids, so that he could carry this big device, and he was only 6 years old. So I'm here for all of it. Anything that's going to benefit them and make them, give them the support that they need, and so that they can be successful. Yes. Yes, the IEP I want the IEP. I want everything that they need in place. Yep.
It makes a difference. So if our listening and viewing audience would like to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me through my, I'm on social media right now, through Instagram, through my email address is, do you want me to give it out right now, or okay? It is AUNTDENEA. It comes up as Nazer, which is the name of our business, but that is it, at gmail.com. Okay. And they can follow me or send me a message through Instagram or Facebook at rjohnson0364 or Nazer, which is the business name. Nazer Jackson LLC is my business name, and they can look that up. But I'm on Facebook, Instagram, same name on Clubhouse. You can send me a message or send me an email. Any of those ways is the best way to get in touch with me.
So what's the name of the room or the club that you have on Clubhouse?
The club is actually Real Moms. It's the Real Moms Club. And the room that I host is Real Parents Snack and Chat, because we're just for like 30 minutes. So it's a little snack and chat. And then it's our kids' mental health, parents' help, or sometimes we might focus. We've been talking about food and mood. So, but it's Real Parents Snack and Chat. And if you find me, R Johnson 0364, if you find me, then the room is listed on my page, or you can just look it up in the Real Moms Club. Yeah. You can find me.
It has been a pleasure talking with you.
Yes, it's been a pleasure talking with you as well. Look how much we have in common. It's amazing.
It is. We'll definitely have to make sure that we share this space again sometime in the future. One of the things that I want to make sure that before we end our conversation today is, when life hits us negatively, it isn't about how it hit us. It's about how we recover.
Yes.
And I think that most people need to understand that life can hit us in several different ways. It can come from A to Z.
Yes.
But it's really not about what happened, but it's about how we get back up, how we keep going, and how we allow ourselves then to be an example to others of what it looks like to overcome and to keep moving. I was once told that you can't hit a moving target, or it's hard to hit a moving target.
Yeah.
And so with it being hard to hit a moving target, if you get back up and keep moving, it doesn't mean that you won't have the emotional stuff to deal with. It doesn't mean that there might not be other situations that you have to encounter and deal with. What it means is that you didn't allow that thing, that experience, that interaction to stop you, but that you kept moving forward. Yeah. And so I want to make sure that our listening audience recognizes that the buck stops with them. Exactly. Or as my pastor used to say, the onus is on us.
That's true.
You know, it begins and it ends with you. So the onus is on us. So thank you, Renee, so much for sharing this time with me on the Girlz Talk Real Talk podcast. Is there anything you would like to say in closing to our listening and viewing audience?
Well, I want to say thank you to you for inviting me. I really appreciate you. This is amazing. It was a great conversation. I would like to say, you said it all. The onus is on us. And I would just like to encourage anyone out there who, it is hard to hit a moving target, but sometimes the movement might just be our mouth praying. It could just be our heart continuing to beat, because that thing that knocked us over was so powerful and it made us knock the wind out of us. But you're still breathing. And my encouragement is to hang in there. And what I mean by that is, if you're on the floor, stay down there for a minute and gather yourself. It's okay. If you are up and you are starting to move about your space and get your wits about you, keep on doing it one step at a time. It is okay. Our time is in God's hands, and He controls time. So we don't have to rush through anything. We just have to keep on moving forward. And I'm encouraging you to do that today, because sometimes we think no movement or little movement is not enough. It is enough. You're alive. Let's live for another day. Just be blessed. That's what I have.
I like that. Thank you so much, Renee. I appreciate all of your words of encouragement. Thank you for sharing your story about who you are, what it is that you do with our listening audience. And then thank you for encouraging them to continue moving forward. Just because life hits you and knocks you down does not mean that that's the excuse that you have to give up or to give in. Just keep moving. Keep being active. Keep showing up.
That's right.
Because sooner or later, it's going to be easier. So this is your girl, Michelle, with Renee on Girls Talk Real Talk, because guess what? When girls talk, just about anything can happen. So we hope to see you again next week for another exciting conversation with another great guest. So we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.